Welcome back to Frightline. Today we have a very interesting episode that we have been sitting on, greater part of a year now. And that is the voicemail from Amanda regarding a couple of experiences that she had. I guess a while back in a podcast, you mentioned ghosts never turn on new TVs. It's always like stories of the old vintage TVs that you'd find.
That makes sense.
And she was like, or you asked, I guess, does anyone have any experiences with new TVs being turned on by ghosts? And Amanda regales us with a couple of experiences of her own from her work. And this is a bit of a longer voicemail, so we are going to get into that. Also should mention, this is Amanda from the Wandering Crow podcast. So if you have not checked out her podcast, be sure to do so. Some great content over there. And if you're a fan of what you hear on the Freaky Deaky, you're going to be a fan of that as well.
Good day, gentlemen. This is Amanda coming at you with a story about where I work. I was just listening to your listener stories, volume 9, and I think that you mentioned a couple times how there aren't any spooky stories about the new TVs turning on. And twice since I started working at my unit, it has happened. The last time being just a couple of days ago, and I was quite shocked. So I am a hospice nurse, and I've been a hospice nurse for quite a while. No, that's not true. Well, I've been a nurse for forever, but I've been a hospice nurse for like 1.5, 2 years. And I just started working for this pretty wonderful organization. It's really well known where I live, but I will not say their name. And they have inpatient units. And the purpose of the inpatient units is when you've got someone on hospice and their symptoms are just way too out of control for the caregivers to manage wherever it is that they're living, which could be like a facility, hospital, or even their home, then they will come to us so that we can help manage their symptoms. So like they're in excruciating pain, if they've got intractable nausea and vomiting, if, they're having respiratory distress, like we help manage all of that stuff. We're like the hospital of hospices. So we're just making sure that people are comfortable. And if we can, we will get them back home. But a lot of times that's not how it works out. So we have people dying on a daily basis in this house. And it is a house. I will not say the name of it. But my unit is a really cute little house that's been around since like the 40s, 50s. And it was donated by this family for my company to use as one of the inpatient units. And at the same time that I absolutely love it and think that it's completely adorable and it's really sweet and has a very comforting vibe, it also has kind of this weird undertone that's really heavy. And sometimes it feels okay in there, and some other times it's real eerie and it feels real weird in there. So I had just started working there for this company, and I was finishing up my training, and it was probably like the last week of my training. So I was on the unit with 2 other nurses and an aide. And this is important only because this kind of builds up to it. So a patient was dying and she was on hospice and she died, and her daughter and her son-in-law were very supportive and had been taking care of her and were doing the best they could. And, but her symptoms got out of control. So she came to us. Her son had a long history of trouble sort of following him wherever he went. And he was also extremely angry. He accused his sister and brother of killing her, of letting us kill her. He accused us of killing her. Damn. And he wasn't willing to hear reason that what killed her was her disease process. He was just really upset. And that's okay. Grief hits people different ways. So he was very, very angry, and he threatened to, it's only funny because he threatened to burn the house down and kill us, which maybe normal people don't think is funny. I guess I'm not normal. I'm not normal.
Nurses.
I'm a
Same.
vet, and that kind of stuff doesn't really faze me. I've lived through too much,
nurses.
so I don't really care. So he threatened that, and then we had to put the house on lockdown, and it was really annoying. And there was like a security guard out front, whatever. So like the house is on lockdown, and we've got just a few families in, not a lot. And they know that the house is on lockdown, so nobody's allowed to like come in or out unless it's like shift change, or they like have to tell us. Like there can't be like a lot of lingering. It can't coming and going. You just have to stay where you're at, kind of thing. So room 7 had nobody in it. That was the room that the lady had died, whose son threatened to burn the house down. All of a sudden, we heard this really, really loud crash bang noise. The 4 of us were on super high alert, like, oh shit, this guy actually came, like, holy crap. And I really expected, because each room has its own patio door, so I expected that he had crashed in through the back door. Like, that's really what I believed. We rush over, and the person who's in the room next door is like, it came from that room. And then, like, close the door real quick and, like, hunkered down in their room with her loved one. And we went in, and it was this picture frame had just, like, popped off the wall. And I say popped off because the nail was still in there, and it was one of those frames that has like the thingy where like the holder thing has like all those teeth, like all those spiked teeth, and you hang it on the nail, and then it holds onto the nail, and like it comes off, the frame comes off when the nail falls out of the wall, or like the frame breaks, right? Mm-hmm. This thing was a few feet away from the wall, and the frame was intact, the holder thingy was intact, the nail was still in the wall. So for me, that is, boop, a ghost did it, you know, right? Like, and I really felt like something was with this man. Like, I just felt like he had his own personal demons, for lack of a better word. And I felt like his energy, his anger, his chaos, part of it lingered there in that room, and perhaps was to blame for that. I don't know. I felt like it certainly contributed, and it really spooked us all out. So we put the frame back on, and it didn't happen again. I said some prayers in the room. I put some crystals up, and I did some of my woo stuff, and I felt a lot better about it.
Do you, girl?
Well, the following week, I'm on my own. It's just me in the house with my aide. We're no longer on lockdown. We're still trying to staff my partner, because usually it's 2 nurses and an aide at night. But this place has really high turnover for some reason. Ghosts. And so it's just me and my aide, and there's like, I don't know, 3-4 patients in the house. It's pretty quiet. It's a quiet night, and it feels spooky to me. Like, it feels real spooky. And I keep having the sensation of someone coming up on me, like someone walking up to the edge of the doorway and not walking through the doorway. Like, they're standing there just beyond the wall, and that if I waited, I might be able to see like their head, you know, their face poke around the corner. Creepy. And my aide was like, you know, cut that crap out. When you pay too much attention, it makes things worse. And I was like, okay, whatever. So, but I just had that feeling. And I was in the kitchen getting some dinner ready, and I came out of the kitchen, and one of the empty rooms, room 7, had the television on. And I was like, holy shit. So I walk over, the TV's on. I just decided, like, okay, a little bit of kindness maybe will go a long way. So I said to the empty room, okay, I don't know if this is a ghost or not who did this, but I assume that you're bored and you want to watch something good. And it was like 3 a.m. and there was a stupid infomercial on about, I don't know, window cleaners or something. So,
Not cool.
So I'm going to change it to a comedy or something fun, so that at least you've got something to kind of entertain yourself. And then when the doors open and close, these alerts go off, and it goes beep, beep, beep. So you know that someone has come or gone from the building, except at this particular time, we've got 3 patients in the house and no family members. And all 3 of those patients are at the end of life. They're bed bound. They're sleeping. Like, they're not getting out of bed and walking around and opening up doors. TV's on. I come in. I say, I'll change it to something for you. Something fun, something nice. And then it goes beep, beep, beep. And I thought, well, that's some weird timing there. That's interesting timing. So I come out of the room after I've changed it to a comedy, and I go find the aide, and she's doing some charting in one of the offices. And I'm like, hey, did you like go vape or something? Like, did you leave the house to go do some vaping? And she goes, no, I haven't been out yet tonight. I'm going to go out a little bit later. So are you sure? She was like, yeah. I was like, well, didn't you hear the doors beeping? She goes, what? No, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, yeah, the doors beep. She goes, no, I didn't go out, and I really didn't hear that. Like, okay. So we checked the house. Nothing has changed. Nobody's in the house. None of the doors are mysteriously open. And I asked her, I said, hey, did you turn the TV on in that room? And she goes, no. Why? I was like, well, the TV's on. She goes, dude, shut up. I'm like, yeah, the TV's on in there. And I don't know why it's on. She goes, no, man. Like, I didn't have anything to do with that. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a weird thing. And this is one of those TVs where it's like got the Netflix on it, and like it's all, you know, one of the smart TVs. So then that was months ago. That was September. maybe. Just a few days ago, and it's another scenario. We've got a semi-full house, except this time it's me, my nurse partner. I finally got a partner, and the aide, my friend. And we have a new patient come in. Like, the house has been really quiet. There are like 1 or 2 family members, but they're bedding down in the rooms and they haven't left their rooms. Got a new patient, and we got her all settled in and tucked in. I gave her some pain medicine, and she got all nice and cozy. And she finally fell asleep. So I left her room, and I was getting ready to start some charting. And as I walked past, the room next door to her, not room 7, a different room, room 4, has a TV on. And just the day before, someone in that room had died, which, all the rooms have people die in them all the time, but this one just happened to have the most recent death. And I walk up, and sure enough, the TV's on. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay, I know for a fact nobody did this, because my nurse partner is in the room with a dementia patient who's been screaming. So I know where she is. She hasn't been messing around. And the 2 aides were with me in the room getting the new patient settled in. So there was no staff. And I know that there was no family, because all of the families accounted for, and I know what they're doing. Everybody's sleeping. It was after 3. It was closer to like 4, because that patient arrived at like 3:50. So it's like dead middle of the night. All of the family members who are in the house are sleeping or are like dealing with their family member. And I know that they're not wandering around the house, because sound carries and you can hear when people are wandering around in the house. And I got really annoyed for some reason, because it's been very strange in the house. And this particular day, it was another day where it felt just really eerie and a little bit oppressive. And I was just like, dude, are you serious? Like, stop this fucking shit. Like, I'm not in the mood for this. And then I turned the TV off, and then I walked away, and then I actually felt like really guilty. I'm like, man, if I'm dead and I'm stuck here and TV's literally all I've got, then that was really rude of me. So I turned around,
Just wanted to watch
and I
King
turned the
of
TV
Queens.
back on, and I found a nice sitcom, because again, it was on some random, I don't know, infomercial thing. And I just left it at that, and I just turned the volume down so it wasn't bothering anybody, and I walked away. But there you go. I've been there. I've been in this unit working there since like August, September timeframe, and in that very short time frame, twice now. 2 different TVs have turned on, and each room has its own TV. There's been other stuff that's gone on in that house, but those are my TV stories. So I hope you enjoy those. Peace out. Love what you do.
I did enjoy those. And how could you not like King of Queens?
Because it's a sitcom.
Are you kidding me? Kevin James, Leah Remini, Jerry Stiller, none of that works for you? None of that works for
None of it. I'm over sitcoms.
I do find it kind of funny that this happened. It was always like an infomercial or something like that. Just put on anything. But at the end, you're like, I'll put on a sitcom, and I just turn the volume down. That's almost more messed up, if you ask me, because then the ghost's like, well, now I can't hear anything.
The ghost can't hear anything anyway. Ghost doesn't have ears. The ears are on the body. You don't take the ears into the afterlife.
Well, then, okay, the eyes also don't work then, and the ghost is just like,
No, that's not. I don't think that's how it works when you're a ghost.
oh, are you just, do you suddenly know how it works when you're a ghost? You
Well,
don't, first and foremost, you don't believe in ghosts. So,
So when we started the story with the TV, I was like, okay, it's a TV.
You're like, ghosts aren't real. And now at the end, you're like, ghosts are real.
No, but it's hospice.
Yes.
I do believe that there's a ghost can exist there in a hospice or immediately after death. You know what I mean? I don't believe in the haunting thing quite the same, other than it's an imprint in time. But when you die, you has to go somewhere.
I'm convinced that what you do on this show is just rage bait. I'm pretty sure you just say things that people are going to, it's going to get under people's skin. They're like, what did he just? No, ghosts only exist in the hospice for a little bit. Okay, Christian.
I mean, that makes sense, right? For somebody, your spirit has to go somewhere.
Sure. Yes. It goes somewhere.
200 years from now, your spirit shouldn't still be haunting someplace.
Well, it depends on a few factors, but we're not going to get into that. It's very strange. I wonder, we had recently, I don't know if you remember, a similar situation, old folks' home. Someone had passed on, but the lady saw him walking around the hallway.
Yes.
And like hiding. And it was, to me, I was like, that's creepy as hell. And you're like, oh, it's wholesome or whatever.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, you're just wandering
I would
about.
have fun.
I wonder if Amanda has had any experiences like that where you see someone you physically, quote unquote, see someone, and then later on find out that they've actually passed on. Even if it was just a few minutes later or something like that, you check on them, or I don't really know how it goes. Obviously, I design things for a living. I stay away from the elderly unless they want t-shirts, which is surprisingly often and kind of obnoxious, but it's fine. But yeah, it'd be really interesting. I feel like working in a place like that, you'd have to have tons of stories.
I feel like that's true. I feel like every nurse, and I've got a lot of nurses in my life, has told me stories like this.
Yeah.
So that's why it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense that there might be something around for a small amount of time, but there's better options if you're a ghost. You're not trapped here. You can go somewhere else. And again,
I don't know if we make up the rules on what can and cannot happen beyond this world.
I'm not saying I make up the rules, but
you're just saying what it is.
Well, when you're a spirit, you don't have eyes and ears. Obviously, you can. There's perception somehow. There's ways of communicating in some cases, according to
you
all
don't think
this stuff.
that you got ghost ears, maybe, or ghost eyes? That never dawned on you once that maybe there's a spiritual set that comes with.
Do you have a ghost brain and a ghost heart?
Ghost nose, perhaps? Ghost farts? There's a lot of areas we could take this, Christian.
I believe in ghost farts.
Yeah,
we've all heard about the smells.
Yeah, it's usually just people passing it off on someone else, but that's fine.
That is true. Best place to do that is in a hospice.
Ain't that something?
That took me a little deep, though, hospice. I was sitting here thinking, because I had experience with that last year. And I was like,
takes you back.
Damn it, I need therapy.
Thanks, Amanda. No, seriously, thank you. And again, be sure to check out the Wandering Crow podcast if you want to hear more. Guys, let's take a half second for half day, and we'll see you in just a moment. I got a notification the other day on the Ring camera, and it's our garage door showing the road. No cars, no animals, nothing. But there's just this wisp of cloud floating down the street, dude. I actually had to pull up the video. I'm like, oh, that's pretty odd. But it is kind of that time of year. I think the only other time I've seen something like that was at Mirror Lake. A lone solo cloud was hovering above the lake by itself.
That makes sense. You're not far from the lake.
But it was just weird to see just this little wisp, little floating down the street. Okay, ghosts? No, just clouds. It's fine.
I forgot to say something at the end of after that last story.
Go for it.
We didn't even talk about the TV thing. Old TVs versus new TV.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really touch on that, did we?
Yeah, when we first came into the story, I was thinking, new TVs, it's pretty easy for their signals to get messed up with a random remote somewhere else.
Sure. If you want to make stuff up, go for it. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it happen before. It
sure
depends on how. I mean, I don't know anything about that, but it's like the same thing where people's garage door openers can open up other garage doors sometimes, or they did up until recently. I'm sure they've worked on that a little bit.
You'd like to hope,
But then again, when I found out it was a hospice, I'm like, okay, maybe that's not the case in this, because people be leaving the hospice spiritually.
People be leaving?
Yeah. I didn't even try that. It just worked out. But
people be leaving hospice.
Like, if you were thinking about it, I know you probably don't have too much experience with the older styles TVs, but I'm sure you've had one or two in your life.
Yeah, I've had several. I was born in 1990.
Yeah, but
They didn't come out with like flat screens, and even the flat screens that came out in the late 90s were fat as hell.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they didn't come out to like with the smart TVs till mid to late 2000s.
I remember when all of a sudden my better off friends, we had to, you'd kind of have to have a group party to get a new TV because it was so big.
Yeah.
So even that makes a little bit less sense when the older ones pop on like that, because it seems like it takes more work to turn one of those on internally.
I don't know. The fact that it's happened to her twice in such a short period of time, and on top of that, it's never once happened. I've had many flat screens in my day. It's never once happened to where something will just show up. Like, I've had strange noises happen. I've had weird things like that, but never a TV just randomly turning on.
Yeah, I don't recall that happening to me either, old or new TV. But I've heard many stories.
I'm sure you have. We got one more voicemail for you, and this is an anonymous one, so I guess buckle up for that.
advice. This has been happening for about 6 weeks now, and I haven't told anyone because it sounds insane. But every time I yawn, I see this guy, like for the whole duration of the yawn and out of the corner of my eye. Pale skin, red flannel, no lips. Just this vague expression like he's waiting for something. And then when the yawn ends, he's gone. I thought it was just me being tired, but then I started recording myself yawning in the mirror. Playback shows a flicker of something just behind me, one frame, over and over. I even tried yawning with sunglasses on. Didn't help. I don't know why it would. In fact, I think it made him closer. So that was troubling. I don't know who he is or why it's tied to yawning, but now I'm terrified of being tired. I haven't slept in 3 days. I had to chew a cough drop during a meeting to stop a yawn, and the guy across from me bit his tongue clean in half. So, like, what now, you know? Is there some kind of anti-yawn spell I can do, or should I just embrace it and offer the yawn man tea or something? Anyway, great show. Thanks for the advice. Look forward to hearing what you guys think. Okay, toodles.
This is a demon, obviously.
That's good stuff.
That's fueled by the gases produced from digestion.
Gross. Isn't there a theory that Ray Charles isn't actually blind?
I have heard that.
Frightline.